All right, everyone, we are going to start 2025 with talking about the movies of 2024. I saw over 100 movies last year, and so I'm going to do, obviously, a top 10 list. That's what this is, the top 10 best movies of 2024. We'll be doing top 10 most mediocre and bottom 10 worst movies of 2024 as well. For this particular video, these are films I didn't feel had any flaws in their objective elements, and then subjectively I enjoyed watching and I feel have real watchability factor. These are in no particular order whatsoever because asking me to actually decide between them is not a thing. So let's hammer the rewatchability thing home. I've seen this film twice in theaters and 4 times since Dune Part 2. Feels really obvious because it is objectively an incredible movie. Now, when it comes to awards season, I think it's going to get screwed over and it's going to get the Lord of the Rings treatment, and we're not going to get anything for it until Dune Messiah is out, and that's bullshit, but it's fine. Story was fantastic, visually easily one of the most beautiful films this year, and I finally get the Timothée Chalamet hype. So yeah, it's an incredible film, and it is one that reminds me of why I love film and filmmaking and storytelling in general. This one makes my musical theater heart happy. Wicked was obviously one of the best films of the year. I think it was a gorgeous tribute to the stage show. Ariana really surprised me, and I expected Cynthia to be flawless as she was. I also saw this one multiple times in theaters. This show has been so close to my heart for so long. Genuinely, I've been singing this soundtrack for most of my life. I've seen the stage show 3 times, and now I've seen the movie double that. It was brilliant and beautiful, and I can't wait for this November when I get part 2. Next is my favorite animated film of the year, which was The Wild Robot. Every decade or so since Iron Giant, we've gotten a popular, successful, sentient robot movie. Those who grew up feeling for Iron Giant grew up and created WALL-E. Those who grew up on WALL-E grew up and created Big Hero 6. Those who loved Big Hero 6 grew up and, here we go, brought us The Wild Robot. There are films that are now an integral part of our society and of childhood in general, and The Wild Robot fits right in with all the greats I just mentioned, and just like all of those, it will be passed on to future generations. It was a stunningly beautiful film in both storytelling and visuals. Now, the movie I perhaps feel the most strongly about this year is Ghostlight. It not only had some of the best performances of the year acting-wise, but the premise and execution was heart-wrenchingly brilliant. To focus on a father who just lost his son to a teen suicide pact, find himself playing Romeo in Romeo and Juliet when he hasn't actually dealt with his grief of his actual real-life loss yet it's amazing. I have so many words. It was so good. The writing is beautiful. It will make you cry. It is one of the most emotionally impactful films of the year, and it is a must-watch, and it's being so overlooked during awards season. It's making me so mad. I also feel very strongly about Mother's Instinct. The way that this narrative was crafted with so much commentary on motherhood and loss while still maintaining being an actual thriller was incredible. It was an impeccable balance of just so many elements, and having the production design be very, it took place in the 50s, but being very Stepford to further comment on the expectation of mothers and women in general. It's a brilliant movie, and anything with Anne Hathaway is a fucking winner, so yeah. Okay, we have to talk about an independent film that did not get any limited release in theaters. It got 0 theater screen time. But it's on Amazon Prime, and I need everyone to go find Foe right now. Saoirse Ronan and Paul Mescal, inarguably 2 of the best acting performances of the year in any movie. But because it got no theatrical release, it will not be in talks for any kind of awards. A lot of people probably missed this one for that reason. It kind of slipped under the radar. but it has one of the best narrative twists I've ever seen, and it was amazing. Saoirse Ronan is always amazing. Paul Mescal was fucking working in this movie. It was crazy good. Okay, we have to move, because I know that these also are not in talks for awards, and it makes me mad. So we started the year with lesbian movies, and they were both phenomenal, but the one I chose, despite my disdain for Kristen Stewart, is Love Lies Bleeding. It was such a great relationship exploration. The effects and cinematography were interesting and beautiful all the way to the very, very end of the film. The story was incredibly well written. The pacing was so great. I was so invested the entire time. And as the narrative built, there was no part where the story lagged or lingered too long. And it was just a tense, incredible film. But the Academy hates women, so there's just no way it was going to get nominated for anything. It's fine. Now, we can't leave this list without talking about Conclave, something that has been in awards talks, which is great because seriously, the casting was incredible. The story was well crafted. It was a good look at the hypocrisy of religion and religious leaders. It was tense. It was quiet. It was a beautiful watch. And Ralph Fiennes was particularly incredible, and I think it's going to do pretty well at the Oscars this year. And last but not least, my quietest entry, arguably, is Small Things Like These. It also slipped under the radar because it's technically a foreign film. And it only got a limited release in the US, so Cillian Murphy, wow. Cillian Murphy, thank you, stars in and helped produce a subtle and unbelievably gorgeous film about the kindness of strangers and how certain people and their connections impact your life and can change the entire outcome of your life. And it does that in front of a backdrop of corrupt religious organizations, allowing for the commentary on how religion isn't necessarily an infallible moral center. And it's just so beautiful. It's an incredible film. It's quiet, it's soft, and it's brilliant. Small Things Like These is definitely worth the watch. And I have to honorable mention, just because it is so good, I tried to keep this list top 10, but truly there were so many good movies this year. Nickel Boys, incredible, important, the performances are amazing, the camera work is so unique and impactful, and it truly brings you into the story. Nickel Boys was amazing. I just have to say that. Okay, those are my top 10, 11 movies of 2024.